We'll sit and look at that same old view, just we two, Darby and Joan, who used to be Jack and Jill. The folks who like to be called the folks who live on the hill. Our veranda will command a view of meadows green, the sort of view that seems to want to be seen. And when the kids grow up and leave us, we'll sit and look at that same old view, just we two, Darby and Joan, who used to be Jack and Jill. The folks who like to be called what they have always been called, the folks who live on the hill. This lovely day will lengthen into evening. We'll say goodbye to all we've ever had. Alone where we have walked together, I remember April and be glad. I'll be content. You loved me once in April. Your lips were warm and love and spring were new. But I'm not afraid of autumn and her sorrow, for I remember April and you. The fire will dwindle into glowing ashes, for flames and love live such a little while. I won't forget, but I won't be lonely. I'll remember April and I'll smile. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. I'm waiting for my cue. I don't know. Tyler? My name is Ben Cassara, and I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you all for being here today, and all the performers. And this is where we should be, and this was Ronnie's second home, and he loved you all. And let's celebrate, because Ronnie loved to celebrate. So let's welcome Mr. Ari Silverstein, who's going to host the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben Cassara. Well, hello and welcome to all. I thank you for attending All About Ronnie, the party upstairs. My name is Ari Silverstein of nycjazztour.com, and I'll be the MC for today's proceedings. Ronnie was born in the deep woods of Seattle in Washington State in a log cabin that his father built. Ronnie stated that he would pet the deer on his way to the outhouse. It's hard to imagine a man of his caliber not having indoor plumbing, but such was his early life. Later, after being in the Air Force band stationed in Maine and New England, he would make trips to New York on Saturdays to hear shows and hear live music. After his discharge from the service, he earned a scholarship at the American Theater Wing. Ronnie moved to New York City in the early 1960s, even appearing at the 1964 World's Fair in The Wonderful World of Chemicals by Dow. Since then, Ronnie has played in every swell supper club and piano bar dive there was. The St. Regis, Bellman's, Cafe Carlyle, the Conservancy at the Mayflower, the Masonette at the St. Regis, the Cafe Pierre, Raimundo's, the Showplace, Jan Wallman's, Danny's Skylight Room. But there were also a number of international jazz festivals, concert halls, Philharmonic appearances, and of his highly regarded arrangement of the suite from Porgy and Bess. To quote one of Ronnie's tunes, "It's all in a night's work." And working in those smoky saloons 6 or 7 nights a week and traveling on the circuit around the country and world informed his songwriting. Having written dozens of songs over the course of his 60-plus year career, his songs have been recorded by the likes of Tony Bennett, Mark Murphy, Maria Cole, and the Gordon Jenkins Orchestra, and the singer that recorded more of Ronnie's songs than any other vocalist, a sorely missed member of our Midday Jazz family, Marlene Verplank. Can we have a hand for Marlene, please? One of his first major influences and later lifelong friends, the iconic Bobby Short. Short was a revelation to young Ronny Whyte, who never imagined having a career both singing and playing piano. Ronnie said of Bobby, and I quote, "Bobby performed with enormous energy and panache and put himself together impeccably. He taught me how to dress, how to build a following with a mailing list before email, and that if you're performing at night, you must nap in the afternoon." Today we celebrate Ronnie as a remarkable pianist, singer, composer, lyricist, accompanist, producer, cook, gardener, Francophile, teller of awful jokes, and certainly as a good friend. He was a purveyor of class and sophistication the world over for decades, and everyone in this sanctuary could go on for hours, if not days, with stories and memories all about Ronnie. Best told in a toast, as the lyrics go. However, this is not All Night Soul, and we must remember to try and stick to the music and the schedule. Ronnie wouldn't have it any other way. And we have a treasure trove of performers waiting to do so. And first, I'd like to introduce Russ Kassoff. Russ is an accomplished jazz pianist, conductor, composer, orchestrator, and arranger whose varied talents are much valued and on display in the music world. Praised by the New York Times in 2004 as possessing precision and enthusiasm that is riveting. Russ has appeared as the conductor pianist to Rita Moreno, Frank Sinatra, Liza Minnelli, just to name a few. He also hosts a weekly radio program, The Jazz Deli, which can be streamed on WFDU on Saturdays between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Russ's big band appeared at Midday Jazz for some 15 years. Please welcome again, Russ Kassoff. And our first vocalist is an exciting, well-seasoned vocalist and master of innovative jazz improvisation, completely authentic with a fresh and vibrant sound all her own, bringing high energy to every performance. She is a sought-after educator and author on vocal jazz, not to mention the wife of the legendary jazz pianist Hod O'Brien and the mother of vocal superstar Veronica Swift. Please welcome Stephanie Nikasian. The 11 o'clock numbers, and we just started. Wow. Terrific. Stephanie Nikasian. I'd like to introduce our first drummer of the evening. Ray Marchica, he's been an in-demand player in New York for more than 25 years, appearing on countless sessions, Broadway productions, and TV shows. He's also a member of the Mike Longo New York State-of-the-Art Jazz Ensemble, the Russ Kassoff Big Band, the Gary Morgan Pan Americana Big Band, and also plays regularly with the Birdland Big Band, Marilyn May, Bernadette Peters, and Liza Minnelli. Please welcome Ray Marchica. And I'd also like to introduce one of our bassists for today. Boots Malson has appeared with all the finest singers and probably just about everyone in this room at some point. He's also a regular member of the Ron Carter Nonet. And a quote from Boots: "I met Ronnie when I was working with Darryl at the Fortune Garden 35 years ago. He sat in and played Invitation. When Frank Tate, who was playing with Ronnie a lot at that time, got the gig with Bobby Short, Ronnie began calling me, and I was his main bass player from then on. What a marvelous friendship and musical collaboration it has been." Please welcome Boots Malson. And our next pianist vocalist has worked with Frank West, Houston Person, and Andy Bay. He's appeared in just about every important room where sophisticated music has been played worldwide. And his recent sold-out show at Mesro along with his wife, Barbara Fasano, who's in attendance tonight, are a jazz cabaret power couple. For years, they appeared at 5:30 at Birdland. Stephen Holden said that they are turning the neighborhood into a hotbed of pleasure. Will you please welcome Eric Comstock with an important message that we should all heed? Words and music by Ronny Whyte. Listen to the Piano Man.
Test 1, 2. Got it. Well, my friends all know that I love my tribe, and by that I mean the pianist singers. And I've been very lucky, not just matrimonially. I've lived in a time of Bobby Short and Steve Ross and John Wallowich and Ronny Whyte. Ronny is, to borrow Bill Charlap's elegant phrase, one of the stars at the top of the tree. Fittingly, we met at a Bobby Short set at Cafe Carlyle. We were both underage. How we got in, I'll never know. And it was December 30th, actually. We weren't fools. We knew the prices were going up the next night. Ronny's good looks and suavity, led him to be called the Cary Grant of the keyboard. But don't let him fool you. His debonair exterior concealed a ferocious work ethic. He not only composed his sets impeccably, he composed them in calligraphy. In the unlikely event you stumped Ronny when you went in to hear him, you could be sure that the next time you went in, he would have it together for you. And what a repertoire, from Gershwin to Monk, Julius, and Thelonious, to Flanders and Swan. That's quite a gamut. I'm also grateful that Ronny played my part in Our Sinatra for 2 grueling national tours. I love my country, but perhaps not that close up. We all have intimacy issues. So here's one for the musician's musician, the pro's pro, the king of hang, and a guy who showed us how to live, perhaps especially in that last year. 2, 3, 4. The sun is setting and you're longing for a kiss. Listen to the piano man. You're tired of fretting and you want to reminisce. Listen to the piano man. He plays for lovers, lost and found. They find comfort in the tinkling sound. You're just relaxing or you're looking for romance. Listen to the piano man. Escape the taxing of the daily song and dance. Listen to the piano man. Lovers come and they go. It's just a part of the show. You'll find solace, you know. Listen to the piano man. You're just relaxing or you're looking for romance. Listen to the piano man. Escape the taxing of the daily song and dance. Listen to the piano man. Lovers come and they go. They're just a part of the show. Find solace, you know, listening to the piano man. He sings and plays till the dawn, and life goes on.
Eric Comstock. And thank you to Boots and Ray. They'll be back in a little while. Dean Johnson, originally from Seattle, like Ronnie, Dean has played with Rosanna Vitro, Carol Fredette, Bill Mays, and Kendra Shank. Jerry Mulligan, however, is Dean's most prominent association. Dean spent over 10 years with Mr. Mulligan until his passing in 1996. Dean recently appeared with the Bill Mays Trio, rekindling a relationship that goes back to the mid-'80s with Ron Vincent on drums. Please welcome bassist Dean Johnson. Bill Mays is a virtuoso pianist and composer. He was pianist for a who's who of singers, including Sarah Vaughan, Anita O'Day, Al Jarreau, and Frank Sinatra. He had a long-time association with Mark Murphy and was on some of Mark's most influential albums, including Bop for Kerouac. Oh, thank you. I was the MC for that one, too. Bill, along with his wife, artist Judy Kirtley, Mark Murphy, and Ronnie were all neighbors in the Shahola, Milford, Pennsylvania area, and they were also tennis partners. Ronnie would often regale friends with stories of their tennis matches. Please welcome, already at the piano, Bill Mays.
Well, I didn't consult with you. I was going to tell that story. We're going to play I Remember You, Ronny Whyte. Most notably, fabulous dinner parties, numerous memorable nights of music, and especially lots of sets and matches on the Walker Lake tennis court. I Remember You.
Bill Mays and Dean Johnson, I remember you. Bill, you're staying up. Mary Foster Conklin. Scratch her witty, tough girl from Jersey Patter, wrote the Washington Post, and you'll find a sensitive artist, but not frail, with a wide-ranging, boldly colored voice and open ear for offbeat material, which we will hear shortly on a lesser-heard Landison-Wolf classic. Mary performed a tribute to beat poet and lyricist Fran Landisman, which was praised by the New York Times as full of salt and vinegar with the intensity and tough humor of someone who might have lived on the Bohemian fringe in the late 40s and 50s, when the word hip meant something. She's also the host of a Broad Spectrum, a radio program that features female composers. Will you please welcome the Chelsea Fitch herself, Mary Foster Conklin.
Hello, hello. Excellent. Oh, Ronny Whyte. I was such a fan of White Wolf. And Ronny and I shared a passion for Fran Landisman and for Matt Dennis and for so much more. And I feel so privileged to have shared the planet with such a gracious man. Unfortunately, my best Ronny Whyte story is not clean, so you'll have to come and find me afterwards. But I will say, he was such a charming, witty guy. I can think of no better Fran Landisman tune to do from White Wolf, but Nice Weather for Ducks. Nice weather for ducks. I'm sure they find it amusing. It won't inhibit their cruising. It's nice weather for ducks. Nice weather for eels. I'm sure they find it appealing. 'Cause no one wants to go eeling. Ew. It's nice weather for eels. The girl and boy ducks love the rain. The she-eel has the he-eel. But no one cares if I complain how miserable I feel. Oh, it's nice weather for ducks. It's wet below and above them. 'Cause they have someone to love them. It's nice weather for ducks. Talk to me. Very moist, Mr. Mays. Quite slick, Mr. Johnson. Nice weather for frogs. Il fait très beau for the fishes. Just think it's simply delicious. Oh, it's nice weather for frogs. And it's nice weather for grass. And all the rest of those green things. And you know, man, things. It's nice weather for grass. It's sweet to share a love affair when rainy days confine us. But Cupid's given me the air, and all I get is sinus. It's nice weather for ducks. I know they really adore it, but as for me, I deplore it. So I'll just have to ignore it. They're so lucky, 'cause it's so ducky for ducks. It's nice weather for ducks. Nice weather for ducks. Ducks.
Mary Foster Conklin. Thank you to Bill and to Dean. We'd like to welcome Boots Malson back on bass for this next number. Kathleen Landis. Jazz pianist and vocalist Kathleen Landis has performed in Manhattan's most acclaimed musical venues, from the Pierre Hotel's Cafe Pierre to Carnegie Hall to Birdland. Landis grew up in Detroit, where she was influenced by many of the great Detroit jazz pianists, including Kirk Lightsey, Howard Lucas, and Roland Hanna. Within 6 months of moving to New York, in 1982, she landed a prime piano room spot at the St. Regis Hotel. The following year, Landis became artist in residence at the Pierre Hotel's Cafe Pierre, a position she held through 2008 when the cafe closed. She is a contributing writer for Cabaret Scenes magazine. Will you please welcome Kathleen Landis to perform a song closely associated with Ronnie for decades, the Landisman Wolf classic from 1955, Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most.
Check 1, 2. Well, this is perfect because it's following Mary's song, and it's Fran Landisman and Tommy Wolfe. And just a short story, I'll have to clean this story up a little bit, but I met Ronnie hearing him play with a trio. I can't remember if Boots was actually with him at that time, but I heard him play my favorite song, which was Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most. And then I talked to him and I said, well, I just got the job at the Cafe Pierre. This is the early 80s. I'd be so privileged if you would come in and hear me, and I would love to play that song for you. So I was like practicing it a lot because it's a song I really wanted to play for him. And I got right in the middle of it, the sensitive part on the bridge, and all of a sudden, there had been a scene going on at the bar with a guy getting quite drunk, and there was a lady in the sex workers industry watching him getting drunker, and she followed him into another room, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of the bridge, and Ronnie's going like this, like, and there's this screaming woman running out the door, and then right behind her was a man running with a bleeding forehead with blood splurting out of his head everywhere, at which point the bartender jumped over the bar and ran after all three. And I said to him, when I got to him later, I said, I told you it was kind of a quiet room, you know? So here's our both of our favorite songs, Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most.
stunning playing. My goodness. Kathleen Landis, do not depart to Portugal, please, my dear. We need you here. Next, I'd like to introduce drummer Mike Campenny. He is here. Good, there you are. Somehow you escaped me. Mike is a drummer who's played with Bob Minster, Frank West, Houston Person, Band of Bones, and the Harlem Renaissance Orchestra. He holds a degree from the Manhattan School of Music and a master's degree in education from Lehman College. Will you please welcome Mike Campenny? And Alex Leonard, our next performer, was the impetus for a show we co-presented in this sanctuary on November of 2019, all about Ronny, the Ronny Whyte songbook, dedicated to Ronny and his songwriting abilities. Alex Leonard has been a mainstay of the best piano rooms and clubs around New York City, including a long run at the much-missed Rothman Steakhouse. He has appeared at Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, Mabel Mercer Cabaret Convention, and is known as the Crown Prince of Staten Island Cabaret. Will you please welcome Alex Leonard to perform Ronny Whyte and Roger Shore's tune, Throw Me a Word. And Roger, I realize I accidentally skipped you. We'll get you on next.
Lyrics by Roger Shore, music by Ronny Whyte. Throw me a word, toss me a sign, give me a token or two, maybe a glance, adding a wink, smiling the way that you do. And if you really love, a squeeze and hug will do. Bring on those long winter nights that we can snuggle through. Throw me a word, plant me a kiss. That's an encouraging sign. Then I'll be convinced that you're gonna be mine. A squeeze and hug will do. Bring on a long winter night that we can snuggle through. Throw me a word, hand me your hand, putting your heart on the line. Then I'll be convinced that you're gonna be mine.
Thank you, Alex. And I'd like to introduce now Roger Shore. Roger Shore is a New York City-based writer who's been writing lyrics since the mid-1970s. His songs have been recorded by some of the finest jazz singers around, including Carol Sloan, Meredith D'Ambrosio, Nancy Morano, Marlene Verplank, Daryl Sherman, Rosanna Vitro, Eric Comstock, Dina DeRose, Alexis Cole, Jane Schechter, Barbara Lee, and of course, Ronny Whyte. For 4 years, Shore was a member of the BMI Musical Theater Workshop, and he contributed songs to the Off-Broadway musical, All in a Night's Work, starring Ronny Whyte and Annie Hughes. Here's Roger Shore.
I think this is on. Thank you very much for that introduction, and Alex and Mike and Boots, that was terrific. I appreciate it so much. You did a great job. If they weren't exactly the folks who live on the hill, they were the folks who lived on the corner being 5th Street in Milford, Pennsylvania. And by they, I mean Ronny and his husband, Jack Burns. In the years I knew Ronny, he lived first in the Village on Cornelia Street, and then moving to Jersey City to an apartment, and finally to Milford with Jack, where I think he was the happiest, because although he was a Manhattan saloon singer, I really believe at heart he was a country boy. And if I'm focusing on Jack for a moment, it's because he was left out of the obituary in the New York Times for Ronny, and that was a regrettable omission, as they were together for 37 years, loving, traveling, supporting each other, the even keel for each other's boat through the years. When people spoke about Jack Burns, the 2 words that popped up were kind and sweet. He was a talented lyricist. He can write funny, listen to his lyrics to the Hampton Blues, and he could write, absolutely, and he could write poignantly, as in, my heart has a mind of its own. Jack was a great storyteller, and he was a great audience for a good story. He loved a mystery novel. Harlan Coben was a particular favorite. And the best way to illustrate his character is to say when Jack died, in lieu of flowers, he asked that his mourners do an act of random kindness. We all miss Jack Burns. Another serious omission from the Times obituary was the name Travis Hudson, Ronny's off-again, on-again professional partner from the late 60s through most of the 70s. That collaboration produced 2 widely acclaimed record albums, one celebrating the Gershwins and the other celebrating Rodgers and Hart. You can go online and read how well those records were received, and you can go online and read the wonderful notices from the New York Times critic John S. Wilson, who used to follow them around in the clubs. Even the countercultural alternative weekly, The Village Voice, covered them at the St. Regis Hotel and gave Travis and Hudson an absolute rave. Visiting Ronny and Jack in the summer with friends like Boots and Joan, or my girlfriend Debbie, was like an extension of summer camp. There was plenty of outdoor activities like hiking, nature walks to Bushkill and Raymondskill Falls, a visit to the Gray Towers mansion overlooking the town, swimming in the Delaware River, and perhaps most memorably, renting a pontoon with Ronny, Boots, and Joan, and battling the currents of the Delaware River, downstream, of course. And a bonus of these visits was hanging out with friends like Mark Walter, Rich Siegel, Susan Ellman, and Martha Lauren. And we could usually count on a couple of games of croquet played in the backyard before heading back to the city. As Ari mentioned, I was lucky enough to be one of Ronny's writing partners, but there are a number of others, and some of them are in the room tonight. I already ran into Bob Levy. Bob's over there, right on the aisle. And I think Frank Grant is in the audience. Both Frank and Bob have the gift of finding words in perfect harmony with Ronny's music. Check out Ronny's CD, Shades of White, for examples of their craftsmanship. And we can't leave out Francesca Blumenthal. Yes. She and Ronny won the Manhattan Association of Cabaret and Clubs Best Song of the Year for the song that gave this evening its title, The Party Upstairs, as well as a song with that memorable title, If He Were Straight and I Were Young. More often than not, Ronny wrote his own lyrics. He wrote the lyrics to his best-known song, Forget the Woman, music by Ettore Strada. He also wrote with John Bunch, one of Tony Bennett's long-term accompanists, and to Billy Verplank, a great arranger and a great friend. Ronny had a great sense of humor and the ability to laugh at himself. He often told the story of touring down south with our Sinatra. One night he went to a diner after the show, and the waitress asked him after he gave his order, "By the way, are you a singer?" "Well, yes, I am," he replied. "Well, if you tell the cashier at the register that you're a singer, you'll get a discount." So at the end of the meal, Ronnie went up to the cashier and said, "By the way, the waitress said, if I tell you I'm a singer, I'll get a discount." And the cashier looked at him and said, "That's senior." That's Ronnie. Ronnie made everything he did look easy. A kind and generous man with a large heart and talent to match. He never gave anything less than his best. Recently, the New York Times published a letter from a writer who wrote, and I quote, "The age of artificial intelligence is our country's industrial revolution. Now that it's here, it touches nearly every occupation, every industry. That may be true, but one thing I know, AI will never replace our friend, Ronny Whyte." Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Rich Siegel has been a fixture on the New York scene for many years, a pianist, vocalist, bandleader, and musical director. He has appeared in the Off-Broadway shows Our Sinatra and Jacques Brel Returns. He has played in New York's top piano rooms, the Carlyle, the St. Regis, the Waldorf Astoria, Tavern on the Green, and many others. Rich was in fact the pianist for Ronnie's final performance, which took place at his beloved Tom Quick Inn, presented by the Milford Jazz Society. We were lucky to spend cherished time at Ronnie's last Christmas celebration at his home, and we were in Milford, Pennsylvania. Rich led us in carols, and Ronnie was gleefully singing along, as were all of our bellies, thanks to Chef Joe. Hi, Chef Joe. Chef Joe, Ben's longtime partner, Ben Casara's longtime partner. Rich is here to perform perhaps Ronnie's most well-known song, Forget the Woman, with composer Ettore Strada. It was featured on Tony Bennett's significant album in 1986, The Art of Excellence. Tony was a big fan of Ronnie's and even drew a picture of him which hung on his wall in Milford. Please welcome Rich Siegel.
You're talking about that Christmas dinner, and it's making me emotional. I think it's finally hitting me that Ronnie's gone. It was a wonderful evening. And I'm under a little bit of pressure here. I've just been told this is the most important song that Ronnie wrote. So I just want to add to everything that has been said that Ronnie was a true friend and a caring friend, and that's important. He and I were very close friends for 38 years, and I'm going to miss him, and I hope I do his song justice. Although you love her, forget the woman, she doesn't care. Although you need her and want her near you, she's never there. When you are lonely, you think if only she would appear and love you, your life would be sublime. But don't you know you're just wasting time? Dreams and remembering, hoping and longing for her return, all are in
vain now? Isn't it plain now? When will you learn? She'll never love you. Try to forget her. Try to find someone new. When will you forget the woman? Forget the woman, she has forgotten you. Dreams and remembering, hoping and longing for her return. All are in vain now, isn't it plain now? When will you learn? She'll never love you. Try to forget her, try to find someone new. When will you forget the woman? Forget the woman, she has forgotten you.
Rich Siegel. Thank you, Rich. So we've approached the 1 hour mark and we're not halfway through the program, so I'm going to ask all performers to please not make comments. Please keep that in mind. We've got to get out of the church on time. So, and I know I'm commenting, but I do feel bad if I don't give the introductions because half of you have gotten them already. So, bass Ale, Ronny relished his association with bassists over the years, first with Jack Six and Link Milliman, and then a long-time association with Frank Tate, who is with us tonight. Is he still with us? He was hiding behind that pillar over there. As we heard earlier, Boots then became Ronny's most frequent bass player. Ronny did play with many others over the years, including Sean Smith, Sadi Zayn, Jay Lenhart, who is here tonight, and many others. He often played piano and bass at one of his favorite clubs, the Knickerbocker, where legendary bassist's son, Oscar Pettiford Jr., would come and hear him play. Ronny stated the inspiration for this song was that he noticed bassists would order a bass ale on the set break. Will you please welcome Dean Johnson and Boots Malson in a two-bass performance of Bass Ale. Boots Malson, Dean Johnson. Our Sinatra was a musical review celebrating the music of Frank Sinatra, conceived by vocalists Eric Comstock, Christopher Gines, and Hilary Cole. The show, which has been performed in various New York City venues since 1999. Ronny Whyte performed in the hit musical Our Sinatra for 2 years off-Broadway and on its 2 national tours, which visited over 90 cities. Ronny often spoke of how fond he was traveling on the bus, going between the towns, and the camaraderie that was built with the cast members. I'm happy to say that the producer of Our Sinatra, Jack Lewin, is here with us tonight. Yes, give it up for Jack. 26 years running off-Broadway, that's no small feat. Hilary Cole, in addition to performing at famed Manhattan venues such as Town Hall, Birdland, Blue Note, Iridium, 54 Below, and Jazz at Lincoln Center, and Carnegie Hall with Michael Feinstein and the New York Pops. She made her concert hall debut at Lincoln Center as part of the American Songbook Series. In June 2007, she appeared at Carnegie Hall in tribute to Oscar Peterson, a performance reprised in January 2008 at the Canadian Memorial to Dr. Peterson at the Roy Thompson Hall alongside Quincy Jones, Herbie Hancock, and Nancy Wilson. Please welcome back to the stage Eric Comstock to join Hilary in an arrangement of I've Got the World on a String from the Our Sinatra production.
So I'm going to say some things while the vamp is going on, so that doesn't really count. It doesn't really count. You don't really know somebody until you go on the road with them. And I was so lucky to spend many, many months on the road with Mr. Whyte. And he was a mentor to me and a great friend. He introduced me to Bobby Short. He kind of taught me, with Eric, what Cabaret was. And he is an inspiration even now to me. I love you, Ronny. I've got the world on a string. I'm sitting on a rainbow. Got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life. I'm in love. I've got a song that I sing. I can make the rain go anytime I move my finger. Happy me, can't you see I'm in love? Life's a wonderful thing as long as I hold the string. I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let it go. I've got the world on a string. I'm sitting on a rainbow. Got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life. Life's a wonderful thing as long as I hold the string. I'd be a silly superwoman, so if I should ever let it go, I've got the world on a string. I'm sitting on a rainbow, got the string around my finger. Oh, boo, I'm in love. Oh, Ronny, what a world, I'm in love. I'm in love.
Oh, Eric Comstock, Boots Mousen. We'd like to welcome back to the piano Russ Kassoff. Jane Schechter, invaluable musical skill, a bright, clear voice with brassy edge and luscious, rounded vibrato, meticulous phrasing and sultry lower register. And she swings. Stephen Holden of the New York Times. Both Ronnie and Jane have wonderful shows remembering Bobby Short. Will you please welcome Jane Schechter?
Is this on? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Or it's sad. Or it's quiet. Or it's mad. It's a good thing. Or it's bad. But beautiful. Beautiful to take a chance, and if you fall, you fall. And I'm thinking I wouldn't mind at all. Love is tearful, or it's gay. It's a problem, or it's play. It's a heartache either way. But beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be but beautiful, I know. It's a problem or it's play. It's a heartache either way. But beautiful. let you go. And that would be but beautiful. I know.
Jane Schechter, beautiful.
Thank you.
I Love the Way You Dance by Ronny and Frank Grant, who's in the audience tonight. In an article by Alex Cohen in 2018, Ronny is quoted as saying, "My parents went dancing every Saturday night, almost to the end. On their 50th anniversary, I wrote, they danced their life together, and flew them to New York for my opening at the St. Regis. Donald Smith, then publicist, eventual creator of the Mabel Mercer Foundation, gave a party for them. Kay Swift, who was Gershwin's girlfriend, was there. Bobby Short, Rex Reed, a long way from the woods outside of Seattle." Ronny penned another song about dancing to be formed by Early Perez. Early Perez, as a former Californian, Early began his career as a jazz vocalist a few years after moving to New York City, with the likes of his mentors such as Jay Clayton, Sheila Jordan, Mark Murphy, Marilyn May, and Marianne Sullivan. He and Ronny became good friends, with Ronny as an important mentor. Early has quickly created a style and a reputation all his own. Will you please welcome Early Perez to sing I Love the Way You Dance, and welcome back Ray Marchica on the drums.
After knowing Ronny, by the way, the lyricist Frank Grant is here, and it's a privilege. There you are. And after knowing Ronny, I love the way you dance, but I love the way you dance. It's another thing to him, I think. And after getting to know him in such a different way, Ronny was wild. Ronny was so wild, and I just absolutely loved him, and so stylish. And also, there's a few of us here wearing our ties and their little florets here, I like to call it, in honor of him. I always made sure I had a jacket on. Yeah, I always made sure I had a jacket on. I could be in sweats and see Ronny, and I'd put a jacket on over just to honor him. 1, 2. Put your arms around me, feel the beat, and take a chance. When you're close to me, everyone will see I love the way you dance. Let my strong arms lead you to that beautiful romance. As our bodies glide to that rhythm's ride, I love the way you dance. Each step we take is like that love we made, both of us moving as one, and our music's just begun. Sway me with your rhythm, guide me with your glance, as we're face to face, lost in our embrace. I love the way you dance.
step we take. Boots Mallison is like love we made. Both of us moving as one, and our music's just begun. You better sway me with your rhythm and guide me with your glance. Oh, as we're face to face, lost in our embrace, I love the way you dare. Oh, I love the way you dance.
Early Perez.
I'd like to mention Boots is on that.
Thank you
Shades
to
of
Boots
White as well.
Malson.
Thank you
Ray
very much.
Marchica and Ray Kassoff. They're going to have a little
Thank
break.
you.
The doyenne of American cabaret, Mabel Mercer, was a great influence on Ronnie. In fact, he was her accompanist at one of her final concerts at her home in Chatham, New York. Ronnie has performed at the annual Cabaret convention multiple times, originally for the founder, Ronnie's great friend, Donald Smith, participating in tribute nights and general performances, including a concert saluting composer Bart Howard. I was in attendance sitting next to Jack Burns as Ronnie's lifetime partner and occasional writing partner as Ronnie debuted the hilarious Hampton Blues to a crowd at Guildhall in East Hampton in 2004. A blues for the wealthy, to thunderous ovation. Later on in 2012, his dear friend, K.T. Sullivan, took over as the leader of the foundation. In 2017, Ronnie appeared in a tribute to Barbara Carroll for writer Jim Gavin's Intimate Night program. K.T. Sullivan became artistic director in 2012. She starred on Broadway in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Love Noel at the Irish Rep with Steve Ross for over 2 decades. She headlined the Oak Room at the Algonquin. Will you please welcome K.T. Sullivan with Alex Leonard on piano.
Didn't Ronnie always look perfect? Here he comes, holy G. See him dreamily walk down the street. Here he comes, woe is me. If he smiled, I'd just faint on my feet. Should I show him I adore him? Could it please him? Would it bore him? There he goes, passing by. What a guy. Gee, isn't he adorable? Golly, he's so handsome and tall, so whatchamacallit, masculine. Gee, he'd surpass Sir Galahad if he lived when love was a nightly mission. He'd be a queen's ambition. Gosh, he's so irresistible. Who could ever cope with his charms if he'd open his arms to ask you in? Oh, me, what a perfect he. Isn't he the nuts? Isn't he adorable? Gosh, he's so irresistible. Who could ever cope with his charms if he'd open his arms to ask you in? Oh, he? Isn't he the nuts? Isn't he just? Isn't he adorable? There he goes, passing by. What a guy.
K.T. Sullivan, Alex Leonard.
Thank you.
Bringing memories of Mabel Mercer, which is so appropriate because our next speaker, Mark Walter, has done much to preserve the legacy of his legendary father, Cy Walter, whom was named the Art Tatum of Park Avenue. Cy had a 2-piano radio show with San Friedman called Piano Playhouse and was an important accompanist to Mabel Mercer for years. Ronny appeared in a centennial celebration of Cy Walter's works. Mark later became Ronny's upstairs tenant in Milford, Pennsylvania, and they stayed close until his passing. Will you please welcome Mark Walter?
I have to preface everything I say by saying that Ronny was family. And when people say that they met Ronny long ago, I met him, and he was fond of saying that he met me when I was a young child. And I quite frankly don't remember exactly when that happened, but it was a time when my family's apartment had people like Alec Wilder, Mabel Mercer, Ethel Merman, anyone who was part of my family's milieu, and Ronny was a part of that. And my mother, Cam Walter, was not a musician, but an incredibly astute lover of music and very discerning as to talent. And if she applauded somebody as a talented pianist, it was really a true compliment that the musician often treasured, because they knew that it was coming from somebody who really cared and loved the artistry. And she certainly put Ronny in that category. And they were extraordinarily dear friends. They loved each other. Roger spoke of Jack, and Jack Burns was just a mensch. He was an extraordinarily special person. And as my mother said at one point about Jack and Ronny, in Ronny and Jack's presence, and I remember this well, Ronny, everyone really likes you, but they really love Jack. And both of them acknowledged that, and freely, and it was a measure of their love for each other. I feel honored and blessed and grateful for all of the wonderful times I spent with Ronny and for all that he gave me in this special, special life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark Walter. Ron Horton has many long musical associations with leaders such as Jane Ira Bloom. Pianist Andrew Hill, he was a member of Hill Sextet from 1998 to 2003. Horton has also had an integral collaboration with New York's Jazz Composers Collective going back to its inception in 1992, and appears on several CDs by members of the group such as Ben Allison, Michael Blake, as well as the collective's Herbie Nichols Project. And Amy London is known and loved in New York City and Broadway circles for her effortless sound, impeccable musicianship, and depth of emotion. As a jazz educator, Amy London has been teaching voice since 1984. She has been faculty at New School University's Jazz BFA program since 1992. and one of its principal architects of the highly successful vocal department there. She is also the leader of the Royal Bobsters Project, featuring Annie Ross, Bob Duro, Sheila Jordan, Mark Murphy, Andy Bay for a while too. Murphy was the first vocalist to record the next tune we will hear, music by the aforementioned bass player Oscar Pettiford and words by Ronny Whyte, with additional vocalese verse added by Amy London. Ronny performed Bohemia After Dark for the Mark Murphy Memorial here in the Sanctuary in 2008. Dean Johnson was on Amy's original recording of Bohemia on her album Bridges. We'll be joining her on this tune with Russ Kassoff on piano and Ray Marchica on drums, as well as the aforementioned Ron Horton. Oh, Bill Mays is on piano on this one. Well, that's appropriate. Okay, sorry about that. Bill Mays, let's all take it away.
I know we don't have a lot of time for stories. I met Ronny in the 80s. The minute I met him, I fell in love with him. Every gig was a master class. I was a young singer, and I would go and watch him, and I just am so grateful to have had this friendship for 40 years. Ronny, out of high school, joined the Air Force instead of the Navy because he thought that bell-bottoms were gauche. So while he was in the Air Force, he was stationed in Massachusetts, and he would get on the train and come down to Manhattan and check out the jazz. At that same exact year, 1955, Oscar Pettiford was running Cafe Bohemia, the jam session, very late at night, and Ronny came and heard him. He heard Oscar play this tune, Bohemia After Dark, and then later wrote this lyric. And in fact, Oscar Pettiford Jr. is a very dear friend of ours, and really, he and Ronny were very good friends. Bohemia After Dark. The cats would blow down at Bohemia, the place to go, Cafe Bohemia. It was a lark, the lights were low at the Bohemia, swinging at Bohemia after dark. The sounds were cool at the Bohemia, the horns would duel at the Bohemia. They made their mark, the beat was cruel at the Bohemia, grooving at Bohemia after dark. It was a little Greenwich Village spot, and in its heyday it was really hot. And you could stop in for a couple of belts, 'cause when it was there, it was somewhere else. But now there is no more Bohemia. It's just a legend, the Bohemia, a memory to hark. But in my heart, there's still Bohemia, jamming at Bohemia after dark. Would blow down at Bohemia, the place to go, Cafe Bohemia. It was a lark, the lights were low at the Bohemia, swinging at Bohemia after dark. The sounds were cool at the Bohemia, the horns would duel at the Bohemia. They made their mark, the beat was cruel at the Bohemia, grooving at Bohemia after dark. It was a little Greenwich Village spot, and in its heyday it was really hot. And you could stop in for a couple of belts, 'cause when it was there, it was somewhere else. But now there is no more Bohemia. It's it's just a legend. The Bohemia, a memory in a heart, but in my heart, there's still Bohemia. Grooving at Bohemia after dark. They were cooking, jamming, grooving. The joint was really moving. The one thing that was proven, it was the place to park. Bohemia.
Amy London, Ron Horton. Dean, Bill, and Ray are going to have a break on this one. We're going to invite Boots back up. Daryl Sherman. Next, we welcome another longtime Midday Jazz favorite. She has performed with the likes of Houston Person, Dave McKenna, Dick Sudholter, to name a few. She met Ronnie back in the mid-'70s at Jan Wallman's and hung out in Ronnie's cold water flat next door on Cornelia Street. Ronnie often told stories of putting a wooden board over the bathtub in the kitchen to host his dinner parties. Daryl and Ronnie had duo shows that they performed together with many complicated list songs, one dedicated to Cole Porter, which was performed in Peru, Indiana, as well as at Bucknell University for the Janet Wise Cabaret Jazz Series, and we have Susan Mendel and her wonderful husband here in the audience. I was lucky to be in attendance at the Bucknell show, where young students and seniors really appreciated the sophisticated music of Cole Porter. Daryl will be performing a song with music by Ronnie and words by Jack Burns. His memorial was here in this sanctuary on April 12, 2010, and Daryl recovered the program from that evening, which included this quote from their dear friend of decades, Jackie Parker, which is just as true for Ronnie as it was for Jack. He will be loved and remembered for the honesty and bravery he displayed when facing the most important challenge of all, the one each of us must face, the final one. Jack's last days were characterized by his courage and honesty, even his wit. He taught us to face our own inevitable day and each day before with dignity and grace. No better tribute can we pay him that to follow his example for each remaining day of our lives. Jackie Parker. Please welcome Daryl Sherman and Boots Malson.
Thank you. Relationships are hard. We artists need inspiration. We need mentors. Mentors are so important. And it's also nice to have someone to come home to, so you can feel better when you said, gee, there was only 6 people there tonight. You know? I was asked to do this song, and I knew Jack for a long time and loved him, and I know about his Hampton songs, but this one is really a really heartfelt look at relationships. And quickly, I got to be invited to the Pennsylvania Milford house and was invited with Dick Sudholter to go on the river with the raft, believe it or not. We were so excited about it. And we were in separate cars. We were following Ronnie and Jack. And the raft was on the top of their car. And as we're following them, I see it's bumpy on those old roads, and the raft is like falling over on this side, and then it's falling over on that side. Like, any of you remember Mitt Romney's car and the dog? It was kind of like that. And they would have to stop. And Ronnie, this was not with hostility, just annoyance. Why didn't you use the green ribbon for the raft? Why did you use this one? Now, and over, like 4 or 5 times we stopped. And by the time we got to the river to put the raft in, there was hardly any water left. I wrote a little song about the same time that I had first met Ronnie and so many other people who mentored me, Sylvia Sims, Dick Sudhalter. And it's about mentoring and relationships. Thanks to you, I've learned the little things, soft and subtle things, your special tender touch, the turn of phrase that always means so much. Thanks to you, I've learned the little things. I remember all you said to me, guiding with sincerity and care. Like a softly stated melody stands aside and lets you know it's there. And all because of you, the little things seem to matter more than they did before. You had touched my heart, and now it sings and treasures little things. Trying to get over you are times when I wish I had known I wasn't in control at all. My heart has a mind of its own. I thought that I was the one who was oh so strong. Where you're concerned, I confess I was wrong. Now, just the thought of using you is more than I'm able to face. Tried so to forget you, wish that I had never met you. Maybe I'd be better off alone. But my heart has a mind of my own. So blind. Now I'm grateful to find that my heart
Darrell Sherman, Boots Malson. We now like to welcome three musicians that have already been introduced. Dean Johnson on the bass, Ray Marchica on the drums, and Russ Kassoff. Performing Yes Sir, That's My Baby, a song from 1929, the music written by Walter Donaldson and the lyrics by Gus Kahn. Please welcome them.
I just want to second Darrell's sentiment of mentoring. I first met Ronnie in 1979, which is hard to believe. I was touring and doing concerts with Mimi Hines, who was staying at the Mayflower Hotel. And we would go downstairs to the lounge. Well, it was more like a showroom. And that's where Ronnie was holding court. And I was introduced to him, and he asked me to sit in for him. He was so generous, as he is and was with everybody he met. He was so supportive. He was like one of a kind. And I'll always be grateful for that. I'll always remember him from time to time. You don't know where, you don't know when. And I have this thought in my head that when people leave and go to the next place, or graduate, as some say, you never know when they're going to pop into your head. It could be, in Ronnie's case, a song, his music, his voice, or something, a letter, something that you find. When that happens and that face gets back into your head, the most terrific thing that you can do, the most respectful thing that you can do is smile. And I'll be smiling every time I think of Ronnie. And I'll always be grateful for all the opportunities as a fan of mine he gave me, especially in this very room when we played here every year for all the time that he was here. So we had a lot of fun. And at the very end, I gave him a copy of my CD, which I was told they played at dinners out in Pennsylvania. I got to visit him along with Bill Mays a couple of times. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for Ronnie. We all should be. We're all points of light towards him. And I heard through the grapevine that he enjoyed listening to the CD, so this is one of the arrangements that we did on that. And it's kind of appropriate, a 1925 song. He would dig that. Anyway, this is Yes Sir, That's My Baby.
Russ Kassoff, Dean Johnson, Ray Marchica. How we doing, folks? We're getting there. We're getting there. Not too much more, okay? And I know it's a long night, but how do you sum up an over 70-year career in under 2 hours? It's tough, you know. So next, I'd like to welcome one of my dearest friends. Nancy Winston is a pianist, singer, composer, and been a mainstay of New York's nightlife for 4 decades. She's performed at all the city's major hotels, including the Plaza, Waldorf Astoria, the Palace, Plaza Athénée, and for 20 years, the Café Pierre. She continues to play in many of the city's private clubs and books music events at the Coffee House at the Salamagundi Club, which is great. Go there. She will perform a song written by Ronny and her writing partner, Roger Shore. It's Always Christmas in New York. Many of us think of Ronny when the winter holiday season comes around. His annual gig on Christmas Eve at the Catano was a New York tradition, made even more jovial by long-time fan and Cabaret radio host Elliot Ames, celebrating his Christmas birthday. We would oftentimes leave the gig at the Catano, and a cadre of Ronny's closest fans would trek up to the Townhouse Bar, where pianists Rick Underberg or Michael Ferrari would ring in the early Christmas morning with us. And of course, there was the annual holiday Yuletide sing-along at Midday Jazz, which so many in this room were a part of, either on the stage or as part of the St. Peter's Midday Jazz Chorus. On our sing-alongs, Ronny, being ecumenical, performed I Don't Remember Purim, the David Levy adaptation of the Maltby and Shire's I Don't Remember Christmas, to great merriment of the audience. As Ronny would announce, the Goyim shouldn't have all the fun. Ronny would often say, It's Always Christmas in New York isn't a Christmas song at all, but more of a love letter to New York. Please welcome Nancy Winston to perform It's Always Christmas in New York.
Is this on? Good. Just briefly, in the pay it forward department, after I lost my partner in 2013, Ronny and Roger came over for dinner, and I had all these beautiful ties from Larry. And Ronny said, I really like all the ties. And he took them all. And I saw Boots a few weeks ago, and he said, oh, Ronny gave me all of his ties. So, Boots, thank you. It's always Christmas in New York at any time of year. I'm giddy as a kid again by simply being here. The open-hearted way I feel reminds me of the season. A gloomy gust might say, get real, so here's another reason. It's always Christmas in New York because you have the chance of turning down an avenue, and there's your new romance. Although I love White Christmas, your hand in mine will do. It's always Christmas in New York when I'm with you. It's always Christmas in New York whenever you're in love. And even in July, there's reindeer flying high above, while other others keep an eye on spring, from Chelsea to Gowanus. My April heart goes caroling, 'cause Christmas is upon us. We go out walking, you and I, and much to my surprise, New York looks even better, 'cause I see it through your eyes. I haven't sat on Santa's knee or made a wish or two, yet everything I want is coming true. That day all children dream about is mine the whole year through. It's always Christmas in New York when I'm with you.
Thank you.
Nancy Winston. How about that rhyme? Gowanus and upon us. One of the best. Cole Porter is envious, Roger. Ronny was a part, I'm going to talk briefly about Ronny being a producer here at St. Peter's Church. Ronny was part of the St. Peter's Midday Jazz family for decades, performing for Edmund and Joan Anderson, the series founders, in 1982. And then for the high priestess of song, the much-missed Barbara Lee. Can we have a round of applause for Joan and Edmund Anderson and Barbara Lee, the predecessors to Ronny? Ronny was producer of the successful Midtown Jazz at Midday, that is the actual name of it, Midtown Jazz at Midday, for 16 years until COVID put a stop to it. Originally in the living room upstairs where the reception will be, if we have time, following this concert, his lineup proved so popular that they moved the concerts right here to the sanctuary to accommodate more audience members. He also managed to expand it to a year-round schedule and operate through the summer. There was always a buzz around town when the fall season would start, marked by Barbara Carroll and Jay Lenhart, oftentimes with Bobby Short in the front row admiring his Carlyle colleague. Following Carroll's passing, Sandy Stewart and Bill Charlap would open the season to a jam-packed house. Ronny had a great formula for booking the series. He would often have a big band on the first Wednesday of the month, a singer, 1 week, an instrumentalist for the remaining weeks of the month. It was a who's who of legendary players, but also with an eye for the future, with younger musicians as well. I recall young trumpeter Jeff Galante having his first gig at age 13 here. Next up, we have Tyler Bassett. And speaking of young talent, St. Peter's newest staff member, Tyler Bassett, is now the manager of programs and communications for St. Peter's. He is working on a 60th anniversary event, a very historic milestone. And he's a wonderful vocalist and also a pianist, drawing from inspiration from a diverse array of musicians, including songwriters Dave Frischberg, Bob Giroux, crooners like Mel Torme and Frank Sinatra, and bebop greats such as his mentor and friend, Sheila Jordan. Her memorial will be here November 18th. Reserve your tickets online. And cabaret legends like Michael Feinstein and Blossom Dearie. Tyler brings a unique blend of jazz styles to his performances. His mission is not only to entertain and educate, but also to preserve and revitalize the great American songbook for future generations. Please welcome Tyler Bassett. And joining him will be Boots Mallison and Mike Campenny.
Now, as you might be able to tell from this baby face sitting up here, I did not have the pleasure of knowing Ronny for quite as long as some of you. In fact, I may have known him the least out of all of you. I first met Ronny back in 2019 when I was still a student at the New School. And Amy London, who was my teacher at the time, brought me out to see Ronny Whyte at the Knickerbocker. And she said, "This is a guy you have to see." And oh my word, I'm so grateful that she brought me out that night, because he was kind enough to bring me up and perform a song with me, which is going to be the song that I am performing tonight. And, you know, I've known him for 6 years, and while that may not be for quite as long as some of you, the impact really feels just as deep, because he was such a wonderful person, a true gentleman, and such a good mentor. He's a wonderful person. So on behalf of St. Peter's Church and on behalf of myself, it is truly an honor to be able to perform this song for you all and to have all of you here to celebrate his life and legacy. Nobody else but me. A 1, 2, a 1. I'd like to be no one but me. I'm in love with the lady who likes me the way I am. I have my faults. She likes those faults. I'm not very bright. She's not really bright. She thinks I'm grand. That's grand for me. She may be wrong, but if we get along, now what do we care, say we? And walking on the shore, swimming in the sea. When I am with her, I'm glad the guy who's with her is nobody else but me. I'd like to be no one but me. I am in love with a lady who likes me the way I am. I have my faults. She likes those faults. I'm not very bright. She's really not too bright now. She thinks I'm grand. That's grand for me. She may be wrong, but if we get along, now what do we care, say we? Walking on the shore, swimming in the sea. When I am with her, I'm glad the guy who's with her is nobody else but me. Can't you see? When I am with her, I'm glad the guy who's with her is nobody else divide me. Nobody else.
Tyler Bassett. Aren't we lucky we have such youthful talent here at St. Peter's Church? Unfortunately, Steve Ross tenders his regrets. He will not be able to make it tonight. He is okay, but he is not able to be here. So we are moving past that in the program. I'd like to introduce Sean Harkness. Sean Harkness left Burlington, Vermont. You got your fan club here for New York City in 1994 to immerse himself in the music scene, known especially for duets and ensemble work with singers from Broadway, television, screen. Harkness is now a first-call guitarist who complements a dazzling client list of artists and productions worldwide. Sean performs extensively both as a solo artist and sideman worldwide and in New York City's finest jazz, rock, folk, cabaret, blues, R&B, and singer-songwriter venues. Please welcome Sean Harkness on guitar. Libby York. York's voice is in splendid shape, but it's the vigor and judgment of her storytelling that makes this one rather special. She's worked relatively quiet passage up until now, but unlike those singers who, to vary the image, go up like a rocket and come down like the stick, she's pacing herself beautifully. Downbeat Magazine's Brian Morton. Libby, on a post on Facebook, said, and I quote, "So very sorry to hear dear Ronny Whyte has passed. We'll always have Paris. Ronny, very special gig at Café Universel, and then sitting in at La Closerie des Lilas, and a beautiful cognac at the Ritz Hotel Bar. Tonight, Libby presents a song so many of the seasoned musicians in this room can relate to, a true road song made most famous by Rosemary Clooney, Still on the Road."
Ronny and I had a great gig in Paris together, and I like to think he's just still on the road. 1, 2, 3, 4. The wind blows in from Chicago, and winter there is still bitter cold. And old DC looks the same to me, and I'm still on the road. The cable cars still climb San Francisco, carrying their busy load. New York hasn't changed, the apple's still the same, and I'm still on the road. Hi, old friend, how you been? That's right, it's me again. One more time, yeah, I'm feeling fine. Let's do this thing, make it shine. The road gets tawdry and tiresome. Sometimes I think I'm ready to fold, but I feel half my age when I'm standing on stage, and I'm glad I'm still on the road. from home, singing some lonesome song. But when they light the lights and I hear the band, I know I'm right where I belong. I've got thousands of smiles to remember, and I've heard so many sweet stories told. I don't have a shred of regret, and it's a real safe bet that next year I'll be still on the road. I think Ronnie is still on the road and will always be still on the road, that road, still on the road.
Libby York, Sean Harkness, Mike Campenny. We'd like to thank all these wonderful musicians who are giving of their time and their efforts. There was a lot of sheet music passing back and forth over the past few weeks, and rehearsal time. Russ really gave himself to rehearse with all the singers and all the instrumental numbers, making sure that the music you heard tonight was wonderful, and it was all volunteer work in the spirit for Ronny Whyte. So thank you. Sean just got off of a flight from Europe right to the church. So thank you so much for being here. And we have come down to our final performance of the evening, and it's very befitting that it is this gentleman, Ben Cassara. Please help me welcome, yes, please. Okay, let me just finish. He gets his introduction too. He's a Midday Jazz favorite whose career started in 1977 playing and singing at Marie's Crisis in the Village. He worked many of the top jazz rooms in the city and produced the successful Wednesday Jazz series at Pangea, which I started 10 years ago, and also Sundays at the North Square. We hope they come back. Ben was Ronnie's dearest friend towards the end of his life and kept him going, even living at his house to make things easier for him. Ben gave Ronnie the comfort he needed in his final years, and Ben, you are sent from the heavens above. Ronnie was not not always an easy customer. Well, next we have the song that this evening is really named after, the bookend. We started with All About Ronnie, which this evening, of course, is. And now the aforementioned The Party Upstairs. And we're sure that Ronnie is up there with Marlene and Billy and Bobby and just so many of those, and of course Jack. So please welcome Ben Cassara to sing the song that won the MAC Award for the Best Song of 2008, The Party Upstairs. And Harry Allen on the tenor saxophone.
Thank you. Ronnie was so kind and produced my last CD. Of course, I had to do this song. I had to do 4 of his songs, but it was a pleasure. And Harry was on it with us, so this is very apropos. I just want to say one thing. Ronnie, I know Ronnie is smiling so much right now and so happy that we're all here and we're all honoring him. He was a gift to all of us. And I also want to just say that I spoke to Sandy Stewart yesterday, and she so wanted to be here, but she wasn't able to. And she wanted to reiterate how talented and wonderful Ronnie was, and especially his dinner parties. So Ronnie, The Party Upstairs. 1, 2. 5 a.m., it's almost light. Couldn't get to sleep last night. They're still dancing overhead at the party upstairs. Hear the music way down here. Someone's running out for beer. Someone's bouncing on the bed at the party upstairs. I saw that girl move into the apartment right over mine, with her devastating grin and a case of classic wine. Seems like someone's had a few. Now she's dropped the other shoe. I bet there's not one ingenue at the party upstairs. My chandelier is shaking from a muffled rapper's beat. My head is almost breaking from the rhythm of their feet. Tomorrow I'll knock on her door, really give that girl what for. When I meet her toe to toe, find out if she's friend or foe. Maybe then I'll get to know the party upstairs. The party upstairs. The party upstairs.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ben, and Ray, and Boots, Harry, Russ, our whole team. Thank you to St. Peter's Church. And I just want to make one quick comment and acknowledge somebody here that I have not. David Stern is in the audience. David's a wonderful young guitarist, and he has been archiving Ronnie's unpublished albums online. So please look out for the YouTube, the Ronny Whyte YouTube channel, because you will find things you have not heard before, most likely, that have been out of print for many, many years. And he has been chronicling Ronnie's work diligently, so I want to give David a big thanks for that. I am Ronny on Facebook, so there will be more posts coming out about Ronnie's works going up on YouTube. The reception follows now. It will go for 30 minutes till 8:30, and then the staff must go home at that time. So please keep that in mind. Tell your stories, but tell them briefly, unlike me. Okay. Have a good night. Thank you for coming.